I don't think people quite appreciate how many hats a dungeon master has to wear. You've got to be a storyteller, design compelling adventures with surprises, twists, and turns along the way to keep your players guessing. In a campaign, those stories need to interlock in a satisfying way, and that often means keeping track of characters, pacing, and tone. It means incorporating player backstories and honoring their choices and creating dynamic characters for them to interact with. You've got to be a designer, standing on a solid bedrock of rules knowledge, but with enough flexibility to create your own encounters, monsters, and sometimes even entire rules. A decent understanding of encounter mapping and spacing to create engaging fights, a strong knowledge of your party's abilities so you can adequately challenge them, new and innovative ideas every week to keep those fights from growing stale. You've got to be a performer. Silly voices aside, it is entirely your task to convey a whole world to your players through your words and performances and enthusiasm. You've got to portray characters, monsters, scenes, dialogue to the party in a way that's fun, believable, and furthers the story. I mean, not to mention the sheer performance of simply standing in front of a group of people, all of them looking to you for 3 hours of entertainment. You've got to be an arbiter. I mean, not merely of the rules, but also of the players. Whenever there's confusion or chaos or conflict, all eyes land on you to settle it. You've got to be fair and impartial and consistent and rational in these rulings, whether it's about how a spell works or whether the barbarian is spoiling everybody's fun. You're the adult in the room, and while your word carries the most weight, it must be a just word. You've got to be an improviser, because nothing you've planned is actually going to happen. Whether it's dialogue scenes or plot twists or rules adjudications, the ability to think on your feet is absolutely critical as a dungeon master. What's more, you often need to improvise while maintaining this facade that you know what's happening, that everything is proceeding exactly as you have foreseen. Twice as difficult. You've got to be an empath. It's not something most DMs talk about, but half the challenge for me when I run is gauging the room's interest and involvement. You need to know, often without asking, how the players are feeling moment to moment. Does this excite them? Does this bore them? Is one player feeling excluded? Is one player hogging too much spotlight? You're hosting a party, and you need to make sure that everyone knows where the snacks are and is having fun and likes the music you're playing. And all of this says nothing for world building or voice acting or map making or scheduling or any of the other thousands of hats a dungeon master often finds themselves wearing to keep a campaign afloat. By now, I hope it is obvious that you cannot do all of these things simultaneously, that you will make mistakes, that you will be better at certain roles than you are at others. There's this image of the dungeon master as all-knowing and all-powerful, and if I'm honest, it's an image I try to cultivate behind the screen. Yet, I think if you can pull off even 3 or 4 of those roles at once, you are an exemplar of the form. What did I learn? This one goes out to all the player characters watching. Thank your dungeon master for everything that they do. Hey, thank you so much for watching that video. Trust me, there's plenty more where that came from. If you like the channel, please consider subscribing, and you can even follow us on Twitter and Patreon. Look for the links below in the description. Thanks for watching.